ridiculous.
Be genuine. I'm talking into the camera now. Be genuine, no matter what.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ARTBOX, the podcast where the creativity is abundant and the points don't matter. Today's guest is a musician and AI content creator. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, how to label that?
A little bit of both, A and B.
Yeah, heavy on the music. I know that. And he's been playing around and experimenting with some AI. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, most people know me as Songaria. Real name's Anthony, if anybody cares about that. No one's going to remember that anyways. What else? Nobody knew who I was until Dudesy shared my remixes of their podcast. And then, I just kind of started doing that for a while. Before that, I was doing like food parodies of songs that I like because I really enjoyed karaoke. I used to work in a karaoke bar and I would sing for like the birthday parties and stuff. And I didn't find myself as much of a singer. But before that, I worked on Guitar Hero, like from World Tour till it ended. And that's really where I kind of developed my quote unquote singing skills. Cause I was actually trying to do it. Because like, you know, in video games, there's like achievements and stuff like that. Well, there's vocal challenges too. And we have to test all of those things. I was a tester there. So I got to, I had to sing lots of songs that I hated, and I had to sing them well. So, you know.
Yeah, I've played all the games, so I definitely know what it. I remember exactly what the bar is like for the vocals on that.
Yeah, so you understand my pain.
So fun.
Imagine singing American Pie for 12 hours straight, trying to show the devs that their achievement is impossible.
It's just such a legendary song. No one can do it.
Yeah, dude. And I only knew the Weird Al version, so you know, there goes that, right?
So what'd you end up doing after that?
So between Guitar Hero and now, let's see, I was in a plethora of bands. And what else? I recorded a bunch of, so I learned a lot about FL Studio. At the time it was called Fruity Loops. I don't know why they got rid of that, but maybe it's a lawsuit thing. I don't know. So I learned how to do that, and then I started helping a buddy of mine record his hip hop album, and I was decent at making beats at the time. I've been using FL Studio for since FL 8, I think, maybe sooner or older than that. So it's been a while. They're in like 21 now. So if that means anything. Man, like outside of just, you know, normal 9-to-5 job stuff, I've always worked as a QA, either analyst, engineer, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, I am the type of person that checks the smart guys' work to make sure that they're doing the thing right. That's my job in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, you got to get by, man.
Yeah, and you know, I don't mind that sort of work. I like boring work because it doesn't require too much of my cognitive capacity. I mean, outside of making sure stuff works, right? I don't have to stress over it. It's like, all right, this needs to work. Does it work? Yes. All right, cool. Does it not work? All right, then write up a report. Real basic stuff, right? I mean, it's more complicated than that, but I mean, I sign NDA, so I can't say too much.
Well, that saves you space to, you know, be able to do all the weird kind of stuff that you like to get into.
Right.
Because I've heard you definitely span from like regular, like I know you have like all the knowledge for piano rolls. You know how all of this composition works, and you'll go from like really awesome tracks and stuff, and then you'll just do some funny stuff. And
yeah, I mean, comedy's always been a huge part of my music. Like whether it be taste or just like the irony of singing something like for real, like Yeah, like I mean with my YouTube channel, I started it just with my parodies, right? Like I just recorded parodies for fun
Mhm.
because me and my buddies used to. This all kind of goes back to Guitar Hero, right? Like we'd be singing the same songs like 8 hours a day, and then if it was like close to release time, we'd be doing overtime on overtime. So you get
Yeah.
sick of singing freaking I don't know, uh, "Paranoid" by Ozzy Osbourne a bunch of times in a row, or some song by Swift, like. I don't care about these lyrics. And at a certain point, you're just like, I gotta have fun with this. Otherwise, I'm gonna fall asleep or something. Like this is just not fun. Um,
Yeah.
and so I started like recording these things just for my buddies, just to be funny. And then I started like really trying to capture the nuance of the songs, whether I could sing it like one of my popular ones is it's a parody of Michael Jackson's "Man in the Mirror." Um,
Nice.
I can't sing like Michael. Like nobody can, right? Well, I wouldn't say nobody can, but it's a hard voice to match, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Doing stuff like that, I thought it was funny, and then I started recording video to it. So one of my videos kind of blew up because of somebody else, actually, and it kind of ties into the whole you mentioning AI. So I have
Mhm.
a Rob Zombie Dragula cover or parody. It's called
Oh.
Spatula, right? And there's this other dude, I think his name's Chopwoods or something like that. Shouts to Chopwoods because so he did like an AI like Rob Zombie voice, and his thing was SpongeBob related, right? Because he's fry cook
Nice.
spatula makes sense. Titled
Yeah.
it the same thing. People go looking for spatula, his version, and they find my version. And
Ah.
yeah, and as a joke, right? Like I don't care. Like okay, cool. Like we have the same title for a song and we both did something silly. Like
Yeah.
hell yeah, dude. But because of him, that video has like thousands of views all of a sudden, right? Like when I started the channel or when I started YouTube in general and Instagram for Songaria, I had like 126 followers or something like that. I remember that number because it was stagnant, right? Like it's just like
Yeah.
people I knew and like a bunch of random people, and then it just never grew. I never did anything with it because I didn't that wasn't the whole goal. The whole goal was just share my stupid like stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it kinda just like, you can see, like, the progression of, like, adding more editing. It's like, oh, you were just having more and more fun.
Right, right. And like originally I wanted to go into film. That was like my goal. And like my professor was like, "Yeah, dude, most places won't check if you graduated from USC. Like if you know your stuff, you'll get the job. If you tell them you went there and you can prove that you know your stuff, that's all that matters." So
Mhm.
I'm like, "So you're telling me
What'd you go to college for?
film was my major, but I
Okay.
dropped out." And the reason I dropped out is this conversation, right? I'm talking to my professor. I'm like, "So you're telling me if I know what I'm doing and I can prove it, I could drop out right now. I could save money on tuition." He's like, "Yeah, really, you could." And I'm like, "All right, cool." I finished the semester and I never went back. And then I just got a job and I kept working. And luckily,
Yeah.
I fell into the job that I have. And it's kind of just I've been growing with that like path. I just kind of follow the universe. Like I wing life, dude. Like I'm not, oh, I need to
Yeah.
do this. And, like I didn't take the SATs. I didn't see the point. I knew I was going to community college, so
I mean, you seem like a smart guy to me, like, you hold good conversations, your comedy and, like, compositions are articulate and, like, no matter if it's about singing about food and stuff, like, some people don't realize it takes a lot of, like it takes a lot of brain power to put all that together.
I mean, to that point, right? Like I've heard a lot of bad
Yeah.
parodies, right? Like I love Weird Al. Weird Al, I
Yeah.
grew up on Weird
Yeah.
Al, and like
Yeah.
I'll never do a song that he's done, be out of respect, right? Like I don't want to. I'm
Right.
not trying to be Weird Al, right? I'm only doing what
Yeah.
he did in my style, right? Like
Which reminds me, where does the name Songaria come from?
so funny enough, it comes from me making a bunch of dumb songs and I just kind of let them go, right? So song being music and then diarrhea, aria. So I just kind of shit out. And
Yeah.
if people like it, they like it. If not, they don't. The my rule for myself is if it doesn't make me laugh, I'm not posting it. Or if it doesn't make me
No
say, hey,
doubt.
that's pretty cool, I don't post it. And
One of my first serious videos on YouTube, I think I um topped off the dialogue with saying like, my favorite kind of art is the art that makes me smile.
right.
So if it can do that, that's gold.
Dude, that's it, me. You and I are best friends now. Because like for me, like it's not. It's I don't care about the views, right? I mean, now I do have a goal. I kind of want to get my YouTube channel monetized, but that's not why I started it, right? The reason why I started it is to just
Yeah.
kind of give people a chuckle. Like the world sucks in most people's view, right? Like work stressful, family life stressful, whatever. But if I can make you like laugh during your commute to a job you hate, I mean, like I'm improving that drive for you, or like
Mhm.
if something just makes you laugh and you share it with somebody else, like sharing laughter to me is better than just laughing alone, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
for a majority of the time, like doing what I've been doing, like it made me laugh and I would show my friends and like that was it, right? Like I never really got, especially because of COVID, like I never really got to show it to people. And then, along comes Dudesy, and now people are like, "Oh shit, that's actually pretty funny," right? I was hoping it would translate into, hey, his other stuff's pretty good too. But everybody focused on the Dudesy stuff, and I'm not mad at him for it. I love Dudesy, man. I mean, I made this bootleg Dudesy thing that's hanging on the wall behind me. It's like a
Yeah.
light thing, because I like the show. Like they
Yeah.
didn't when I first got into it, they didn't have merch. So I'm like, I'm gonna make my own, like rep Dudesy all day
Yeah.
long.
Speaking of, that's how I met you. Basically, was the comment section of Dudesy Pod Show. And for those who don't know, Dudesy Podcast just ended not too long ago, and it was hosted by Chad Colchin and Will Sasso. Um, and it also was hosted by an AI named Dudesy. And every show is different, and there were so many topics, and then there'd be music segments, and then it could be so random, but that's kind of where Songaria comes in.
Right.
And
I think I
I'm
did the
not
first.
exactly sure.
Yeah, I did the first
Yeah, I'm
music
not.
segment.
okay, yeah, I think it probably stemmed from you. I'm not sure what our first like comments were, but like I know that's where this comes from. That's how we know each other. But yeah, where'd you get the idea to start chopping up their sample like their episodes and turning them into songs?
Well, okay, so the first video I did was Dear Diary.
September 1990. Dear Diary. First day of football practice. Good team. I'm still the best. I was the best in the 5th grade, best in the 6th grade, best in the 7th grade. I'm the best in the 8th grade. Wouldn't be surprised if I go pro.
And that
Yeah.
that segment, or was it called Stone Cold Steve Austin reads Will Sasso's childhood diary. That is the full
Yeah.
title of those things. And that shit made me laugh. Like I was like, this is hilarious because I love Will's impression of Stone Cold. And that goes back to like TMP, 10-minute podcast for those of you who don't know. And if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
And like he used to do this thing with Tommy Blacha. It was like Stone Cold reads lists, right? And he would just list stuff like, numbers like 3, 2, motherfucking 1, like, just like stuff like that. And then this, the Dear Diary with the fake names. There was a rhythm to it. And I was like, dude, I should totally make this into a song. And it's not even originally my idea. I was inspired by DJ Steve Porter, who I don't know if you know, there's like a remix of like the Slap Chop infomercial.
With slap chop 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 science mixed with slap chop. You can read and break the mood all day. You can slap in your troubles away with a slap in your troubles away with a slap chop.
So that was him. And I really liked his stuff. Like he did there's that show Community with Chevy Chase and Donald Glover.
Let me explain. I can explain. We are prepared for pain.
This is why I came to America.
Love it.
Yeah. Anyways, his like that shit made me laugh, right? So I was like, let me try something like
Yeah.
that, you know, because there was a rhyme, there was a rhythm, and
Yeah, I was surprised to see the rhyme that was happening. I didn't realize it when I heard the episode, but then when I heard the song, you know, Sutton Dutton Cope Lynn, and then it like it was all there.
yeah, and the like that part in particular is the thing that really triggered me was the Sutton Dutton Cope Lind.
But besides me, we got some other good fucking guys. We got Odom Adams. Can I say this out? These are, I don't know who these people are. I got Odom's Adam Cantrell. We got Proctor Richter Campbell. We got Hodges Bridges Yates. Can't forget about Wheeler Weaver Bates. We got Terry Pope. And we got Sutton Dutton Copeland. And thank God Coach Vance seems to have his head on straight again. Dear Diary.
Like, you know, because he wanted to end it with Pope and Cope, right? So, and I do that in my lyrics, right? Like when I do like hip hop stuff or whatever, you know, sometimes you want to use a word, but you can't use the whole word to get the rhyme scheme going. So you carry it over to the next line. So that was like the catalyst, right? Other than the fact that I love the show and I thought it was funny, and then the rhythm part, but that part in particular was like the piece de la resistance, for the lack of better English term. But yeah, dude, and then it just kind of, well, I like to say it blew up. I mean, a meager blow up, right? For me, if it breaks 1,000, I'm happy, you know, like that.
Same.
You know,
Yeah.
And from that point on, I was like, I think I'm onto something here. So I just kind of kept doing it. Anytime there was rhyme or something, like if there was a part of the show where I was like, that I can turn that into a song, I did it. There's a bunch.
You added you're basically like a fourth member of Dudesy is how I kind of feel. Like you added such a and it's not like you were just like sending this crap to them. You're just like bombarding them. They were just featuring so much of your stuff that was so funny, like sampled from them, of course. But like it added a whole nother corner of the show. And then another corner of the internet. Like I think a lot of us had gone to your pages and like started tuning in. And that probably, you know, energized that feeling of like maybe I should do more of this.
I mean,
and honestly, doing more like tons of those samples led you to actually meeting them, didn't you?
Yeah, so other than the songs, right? Like I ended up becoming buddies with Cody Hauber, who does their who did all their stickers, him and his wife Jessica. And Cody hits me up right before, like a day before Will Sasso was doing a show in Nashville. I live in East Tennessee, so I'm like 3 hours away from Nashville. And he's like, "Hey, Will's doing an Uncle Drank show. Are you going?" And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. He's like, he's doing this like country music thing, and he's performing, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'll go. Like, do I get to meet him? Like, let's go. Let's try, you know? And so I almost drove out that same day because I thought it was the same day. You know, my lady was like, go do it. Just go, right? Because you might miss the opportunity, right? You know, I got the green light to go. I almost went the wrong day. I'm glad that I made sure. And then I was like, all right, I'm going, you know, and I'm just going to do it. And I told Cody, I was like, hey, I'm going to it. Let's go. We'll meet up. Cody drove like 6 to 8 hours. I don't know. He's from Indiana. So
True.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually messaged Will on Instagram and I was like, hey man, I'm actually going to your show. He's like, no shit. So he's like, hey, let me know when you get here, right? So I did that, and I met up with Cody first, and then Will texted me. He's like, yeah, I'm here. So we met Will. Got to chat with him real quick, and he's a really nice person in real life. I mean,
Are his calves as big in real life?
Oh yeah, he's a big dude.
He's awesome.
Yeah, and like he was he knew my first name because because I mean, I told him, right? But that's how he addressed me before he started calling me Song.
Nice.
However, like he did call me Song on stage, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, we got to hang out with Will, and a bunch of people that were there were afraid to talk to him, and I was already talking to him, like, you know, I wasn't starstruck because like they already treated me very well, so I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna, you know, if he wants to talk to me, cool. If not, like, whatever, I'm still a fan, you know.
They already built a little bit of a bridge with how much they'd featured you on the show, not just once. Yeah.
Right. And there was like a bit of a, yeah. And then, so there's people there and they're like, you know, I can tell they want to talk to him. And I'm like, just go talk to him. And they're like, yeah, I don't want to bother him. I'm like, I was talking to him for a while. Just go over there. And they're like, no. I go over to Will. I'm like, hey, they want to talk to you, but they're too scared. And he's like, oh, well, what's up? And then, you know, so this is the weird thing for me while I was there. People started recognizing who I was. Like, they're like, oh shit, it's Songaria. I'm like, this is weird, dude. like I've never been recognized before.
Yeah, Dick, listen closely. They're playing Football Baby in the Improv. That's just hilarious. Yeah, what's up, dude?
How's it feel to have like all of the background music playing?
It's pretty cool. It's funny. I was just doing that right now, telling people.
Yeah.
I owe you a sticker, so here, it's on here now. Because I don't know what I do with them.
Yeah. Songaria right here.
I feel like a C or D list celebrity.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of my first time meeting Will. And it was great. He gave me like the official Dudesy stickers. I'll show you. I got one right here. I got 3 of these from Will. One of them's on my keyboard. And the other one I lost at the airport in, hang on real quick, in Nashville. My dog's trying to get out. Go ahead, Chippy.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, so that made me angry. But there was like I have a whole story about that. Maybe we'll not talk about that part. Because I drove a rental. I'll give you the short. I'll give you the short version. I drove a rental all the way out there. Didn't bring anything with me except the next change of clothes. I brought a backpack. I parked maybe 4 blocks from where I was supposed to be for the show. After the show, me and Cody hung out. I went back to the hotel, went to bed, woke up the next morning. Everybody's in the lobby. Apparently, like a group of people broke into every single car in the structure. And they tried to break into the one I was in. But for some reason, the Dodge Ram has awesome windows and they couldn't break through it. All the other cars smashed windows. Mine, nothing. Like I told you, I kind of follow the universe. Something told me to get the insurance, and I never get the insurance when I get rentals. I'm so glad I did because it was covered, and I got to drive home in a Mustang convertible, which I've never driven before. But anyway,
that's awesome.
That's how I ended up at the airport. I had to go back to Enterprise. The tow truck driver drove me there, and then I, got a car and drove home. But yeah, that's how I met Will. And
that is interesting.
And he trusted me enough to give me his number. So like every now and again, I'll text him something or he'll text me something. That's pretty cool. Like I've never had that kind of a, whether it be parasocial or not, relationship with someone that I consider a celebrity or that I truly admire for their art. Outside of my own friends.
Yeah. I assume, just based on what you've told me here, is your experience is somewhat like mine. I'm going to be 32 next year. So I was watching Mad TV when I was a kid, right? Nonstop Mad TV, loved it. The Randy Newman impressions were always my favorite.
When George Lucas first called me up to write a couple of songs for the new Star Wars movie, I was tickled pink. Especially when he told me how much he liked the songs I did for Toy Story and A Bug's Life. Man, with all them lasers and phasers and Ewoks, I love Star Wars, boy. Star Wars? Oh, Star Wars! They gotta never leave Star Wars. Did I get to see any of the movie? No. But I don't need to see a movie to write a song about it. Out in space, all over the place. Space is the place for Star Wars. Flying around, but there ain't no ground. Around for no Star Wars.
Yeah, Will always stole the show for me, always. So when I saw Dudesy pop up, because I'd seen him in films and stuff, and I'd watch those and like, oh, there's Will. Once Dudesy popped up, I was like, wow, this is awesome because I had already listened to TMP, and in fact, I had auditioned for TMP. Uh, I was a part of a podcast group called I think that one was Subject to Change or something like that. But we have 3 episodes that we submitted just as like our pitch for TMP. I'll have to send those to you.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And for Dudesy, they actually ended up sharing a couple of my memes on there. I think I did one of that Maniac show with Jonah Hill and Emma Stone, and I replaced their faces with Chad and Will. And but I had also messaged him about doing that documentary for Dudesy. I was like, "Hey, Chad," or not Chad. I messaged Will on that one because that was his challenge.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, you want any help doing that?" And he's like, "Listen here, Trav, we're not gonna let Dudesy boss us around." So he was keeping the kayfabe. He interacted with me. Um, I can only imagine that he's like just as awesome and just he's a normal guy, but like just as awesome in real life. It sounds like it because like that's cool. You were able to be like, hey, they want to talk to you, and he's like, oh, for sure.
I would say Will and Chad are as awesome, if not more awesome, in person. Like,
Right.
Will's a professional actor by trade, in case you didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And like his off stage or off camera persona, he's just a genuinely nice person. And same with Chad, like, regardless of what he says on camera, like, I mean, he's pretty honest. Because I got to have lunch with him last time I was in LA. So that was cool too. Being able to just kind of chat with Chad. Cause I'm also a TMP fan like you. And like, I really wanted to do the futility of life conversations, but when I got into TMP, the diamonding had already happened, right? So it was already full diamonding, so that was out the window. And actually, TMP, like I had a bit of depression a long time ago, and TMP helped me through a lot of that. And what's interesting to me, again, this is one of the reasons why I quote unquote follow the universe. I would listen to TMP once or twice a year, like every year, right? After it ended.
Yeah.
And the day I finished my last playthrough is when I saw the ad for Dudesy. And I was like, no shit. So, and then this is also a reason why I knew I had to do something with the Dudesy stuff, is that when Will said, this is going to be a fun interactive thing. So I was like, all right, they interacted with the audience before, and if he's saying they're going to do it this time, I got to find my spot. I'm not going to be super fanboy about it, but I mean,
It's a fun challenge.
Right. Like I was like, let's see. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing, just shooting shots, and like, it's not like it to us, realize, it's not that important. I'm just like off, handedly saying, hey, maybe I'll help out with the documentary. And if I get to, hell yeah. But if I don't get to,
yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's just fun, right? Like, I mean, actually, we talked about the Dear Diary. That's not even the first song I did. The first one I did was the Dudesy Hard Seltzer, like the riff. And the reason, I don't know if you've noticed, but in most, if not all of the songs that I've done, have the Dudesy Hard Seltzer riff in them.
Speaking of AI,
Call me Dudesy.
and speaking of art,
Stone Cold Steve Austin reads Will Sasso's childhood diary.
sure, and I know you like to put the two together, but they don't belong together, Chad. And one example I can give you of that is Songaria. At Songaria on Instagram. That's an artist, and that's something you can never replace. My goodness, what he's done with this latest piece.
nice. The melody's in there somewhere.
Yeah, almost every single one.
Nice. It's like your producer tag, like Pharrell.
Yeah. It's like it's like kind of a leitmotif,
Yeah, I like that. Which I mean, just to encapsulate some of this, the community of Dudesy, This may be the last thing we need to say about Dudesy. The community was very interactive and banded together. And after the last episode, it seemed like a lot of people were looking like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
You had started also musical projects with the community.
If every day was a Tuesday, I'm watching the episodes when I wake.
Yeah, Band of Dudesy.
Yeah, so we did that, and that was just kind of again, like I've already done cover or parodies, right? And one of the reasons why I stopped is because of, getting flagged on YouTube, and I was like, all right, I don't want to ruin my chances of monetizing the channel. So anyways, I was like, all right, when we got the story of Rudy dying from Chad about, the dog, I was like, I floored the idea with like Peter Diaz, Cody, of course, and Oliver Blue is his name on the stuff. Cody, your boy Wilkins, and Jordan Daly. And I actually met him too. We all kind of became pals. And actually Jordan and Cody came over last Dude's evening to my house. So that was cool. But yeah, we just kind of did that. We recorded everything online. So that was a challenge, right? We all had to do our own parts, and then I had to kind of engineer it all together. And
so you're the master editor putting the rest of that together?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I kind of fell into it, right? Like doing all my other stuff. I'm like, I like to be able to control the stuff that I'm part of as much as I can without being an ass about it.
You do it well.
Well, thank you. And yeah, we dropped that one, and that made our day to see Chad laugh at it because it was his story. So yeah, it was good times.
Yeah.
And then speaking of the community too, right? Like a lot of the crazy memes, we would see them in the Discord first, and that was cool. Oh, speaking of which, right? Like you saying that I was part of the show, or at least like an unofficial, third, fourth member, whatever you want to call it. I religiously watched the live premieres, and I'd be in the chat and just talking to people, and like people recognize my handle. So I'm like, all right. And then one day, Will made me a admin in the YouTube. So I was like, oh
yeah, that's right, you were.
So and I was already kind of doing admin work on the Discord, and I just kind of fell into that. Shouts to I Am Borscht, who started running all of the like he set up the Discord for everybody to enjoy, like, doing all the permissions, the roles, changing things around, getting the Patreon stuff like working so that people's like names would change colors and all that stuff. Like I met a lot of interesting and smart people through this community, and I love the community. And that's part of the reason why I do the admin there, and we're still there, right? Like people still talk, and like there's actual friendships that have formed because of this pod show that most people that don't know about it would just call it some stupid shit. I don't care. Stupid shit brings people together, like, especially humor, right? Food, humor.
Here we are, man.
It's all, exactly, dude.
We're here talking about creativity in life right now because of Dudesy, basically.
Yep. And like one of the things too is like the community itself is so rich, like with people from all walks of life, like it's interesting. And what's more interesting to me is the disconnect between the Discord and Reddit, right? Because there's a Reddit community, and they claim to be the real ones, right? And that's from the show as well. But what's funny to me is I saw a couple of posts about me, like hate posts.
Oh yeah.
Like, why they keep playing his songs and they last too long and all this stuff. And I thought it was funny. Like somebody messaged me about it and was like, hey man, they're talking shit about you. I'm like, oh really? Okay, well, nobody can talk more shit about myself than me. So, I read it, and then the person was just kind of venting their frustration because they want to hear Will and Chad talk about stuff. And I get it, right? Like my music is not for everyone. That's obvious, because if it was, I would be a successful musician as opposed to just some random dude on the internet, which I still am. And it is what it is. So I defended the guy because people were like, dogpiling on him. I was like, dude, you're
You're
totally
too
right.
sweet.
You know, if you don't like it, fast forward. Like, you don't have to like my stuff, right? I'm just lucky enough that they keep sharing it, right?
That's how I treat segments in shows that I'm like typically like kind of over. If I'm gonna watch the show, I'll just skip that portion and I don't complain about it. But
Right.
it's funny to know that there's like a real one's secret wars.
Yeah. I mean,
Going on.
I tried converting people sometimes. I always tell them, hey, join the Discord. And you know,
Yeah.
most
Yeah,
people.
actually,
I'd made that like Fallout old timey radio version of a bunch of your music. I think that's where we first started talking. I took a bunch of the music I was hearing from Dudesy and I wanted to make like an old time radio effect. And I this before I really knew what I wanted to do with my YouTube channel or anything. I was just doing projects. And one of them was like an hour long Dudesy New Vegas kind of radio style. And yeah, you were on there. Chad's original song was on there. Will's original song was on there. And yeah, I can't remember what what made I just now remembered that I did that because that's not on the channel anymore.
Yeah.
But that was fun to like to just reach out and do stuff, you know. And I was told to drop it in the Discord,
Yeah.
and that's where I met some more people.
So the Discord, right? Like, it's a great community, and during the AI Carlin thing, which we in the Discord talk about as redacted,
ah,
that kind of, for lack of better terms, fucked things up for a while. It almost ruined the community for me, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm a mark for Dudesy. Like, that's just a fact, right? Like, a full on.
right.
And maybe Tommy would pin me as a smart mark, because, like, yes, I love the show, and you know, I know what most people know, maybe a little bit more than they do, just because through my conversations with the guys, right? And that's not a
Mhm.
flex or anything. It's just a fact. And I still love the show. I knew it was like, so whether you believe Dudesy's an AI or not, right? The fact of the matter is that it exists, right? Whether it's quote
Mhm.
unquote
True.
real or, you know, kayfabe, that doesn't matter to me. From the beginning of the show, I was like, there's no way this is like real AI. I'm here for it. I don't care. Shit's making me laugh, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
and that's kind of where, like, we had a bit of a drop off. Some people left. Not everybody. Most people stayed in. We're still growing, by the way.
Nice.
Because people.
Yeah, because that full show is still there, even though it's over. Like, there's so much. Like, I just found myself. I was listening to some of your old songs with the samples. I was listening to, just like some of their shorts. They have so much content, and I still have to experience Dudesy after Dudesy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. It's fun. Especially the watch alongs.
Yeah.
Those are, oh man, those are so fun.
Nice. But like, I don't know. It was so amazing to like see like some of the things people were saying, the way they were effective when it did end. And I realized like that's when I realized like the community was still there. Like obviously like it was going to be a weird space. Um, and that's good to know people are still like coming in and out and like, you know, faithfuls are still there. I mean, for me, I'll never forget about that show, and I'll probably never stop quoting it and talking about it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So do you have any tips on being within one of those communities, being a part, like being a leader of a fandom in a way, you know? Do you have any tips and advice on getting along with the group?
I treat everything the same, whether I'm at work, whether I'm, you know, in public. I don't care. There's certain things. Just be genuine, first of all, right? Like that. As long as you're you, like, I think you'll be fine, right? Now, if you also have to know how to read a room, right? Like, if you come in saying some weird ass shit or very offensive things, well, people are gonna think of you as an asshole or something like that, right? So one of the kind of rules that we kind of collectively agreed upon is we don't talk religion, we don't talk politics, or anything that's not related to the show that's polarizing, because that just becomes this, you know, fight material. And I don't like drama. I'm in the community because of the laughs and the community as a whole.
Yeah.
At the hole, dude. Jump in the hole. And some people get upset about that, right? Like they want to say what they want to say. I'm like, that's fine. Save that for Reddit, you know? But again, like be genuine, contribute, right? Like don't just come in to a community and expect everyone to know you. You have to let people know who you are. Be yourself. That's kind of the thing, right? Like I guess that's a good thing for not just joining a community, but you know, a way of life. Like just
a lot of this translates just to a good way to live.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like there's, you know, it's
Read
just
the
weird,
room
right?
is a
Like
big-
if you're a
good
fan,
note.
if you're a fan of something, there's always going to be the quotable stuff, and then that, you know, there's that, right? But it has to go beyond that. If you want to really be a part of the community, like get to know people, like make some friends, even if it's on a parasocial level. Like sometimes,
And you guys partook in like each other's talents, like buying like each other's stickers and doing collaborative songs together and stuff like that. Like that's a very interactive crowd.
yeah, and I mean, I got to meet some of the guys, and like I think we're friends in real life because of the show, right? Like I'm gonna go see Cody in December probably for Dude's Evening. We're gonna keep that tradition alive because it meant a lot to us, you know. It's a good thing, especially if you don't really care about Christmas or New Year's or anything like that. It's more personal because you make it what it is, right? Dudesy, Will, and Chad invented this fake holiday, which as a community we hold as a real holiday, right? Like it's a day that we chose to just pal around. Like what's wrong with that? You know, have a chill Dude's Evening, you know?
Yeah, some people might call it silly, call it what you will, but me and my brother, we bond on Dudesy big time and Will's stuff. He's the one I did that podcast and stuff with. He ran that. So like, who cares if it's silly? Dude's Evening's awesome.
If you're a Seinfeld fan, people celebrate Festivus. So what's the difference? Ain't no difference. You know, one was syndicated, one's not.
We could go into how silly certain realities or beliefs could be, whether they're real or not. But this show's about creativity.
Yeah, dude. Perception is real though, right? So I mean, we could talk about that, right?
Very true.
Let's segue into music, no?
Yeah, let's do that.
So you mentioned the AI. We'll get to that, right? I kind of already covered my early music stuff. I'll just give you a quick rundown. In high school, I was in a pop punk band, which actually started off as a metal band, right? But we're teenagers. Nice. We don't know nothing about metal. Pop punk was a little more attainable. Power chords are real easy. From there, I learned how to do, like I said, Fruity Loops or FL Studio for those that don't know what I'm talking about. I got into hip hop with a couple of buddies. One guy taught me how to rap. I respect him greatly, even though we're not friends anymore. I still check up on him. I hope he's doing good. And from there, I started other bands where it was kind of like, you know, I went through my whole rock phase, and then I got really into electronic music. And then, you know, fast forward to the Dudesy stuff. Okay, now I got somewhat of a following because of that. And then using...
What was your instrument during the rock days?
Guitar. It's actually hanging right here behind me. It's not a Gibson SG, but it's an SG.
So yeah, you're versed on different instruments as well.
Yeah, I learned everything by ear, believe it or not. I took 0 classes. I learned how to play drums from the bands, guitar and bass, basically the same thing. Singing, you know, karaoke, and then also when I discovered harmonizing with another person, that I fell in love with singing.
Yeah, you actually mentioned that in your last stream, talking about layering your vocals, which you didn't. I don't know if you went too far into it, but those harmonies and stuff. Do you have any other tips like that? Layer your vocals.
Where that all comes from, again, like the guy who taught me how to rap, basically, he's like, if you just record a single mono voice, it just don't sound right. So double it up. He learned it somewhere at a recording studio or something like that. I said, okay. So I took that and I was like, all right, well, now I'm going to pan them out in a specific way, right?
Yeah.
And now it sounds more full. And then you can play with other harmonies. So let's say you pan the main melody, like, 45-45, and then you could do 50-50 for your mids, and then you kind of create that spatial like choir in your headphones, in your listening room, whatever you want.
It adds a lot of professional quality
right
to it.
And so I watched the documentary on Queen once, and they broke down the choir part of Bohemian Rhapsody, right? And it blew my mind that there's like, layers upon layers upon layers, and some of them you can't even hear. It just sounds like a one voice, I mean, I know it's not, but it just sounds, it doesn't strike you as, oh, that's a shit ton of recordings. No, it's like, it's just so well mixed that you can't tell that there's that many. And subtle frequencies and like little like trills of the voice and stuff like that, like that appeals to me. If I can make my voice sound powerful, I'm gonna try it, right? Because I'm just a regular dude in his home bedroom studio recording shit. Yeah. And then, like, speaking of layering, right? Like, I've always done that. I'd never do like a single mono recording when I'm doing, unless it like really calls for it. Sometimes it does. It doesn't always work if you're, like just a solo singer, right? You're just singer-songwriter. You don't need to do that. But with the album I did, MATHLORD, I got it right here. Look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your co-pilot speaking. Just letting you know we've reached a cruising altitude of approximately space.
We going for a ride. Don't argue, get inside. This starship about to fly, so have a seat and don't forget to buckle up. Don't forget to buckle up. We going for a ride. Don't argue, get inside. This starship about to fly, so have a seat and don't forget to buckle up. Don't forget to buckle up. Welcome aboard the metaphysical mothership. If you haven't noticed, me song on some other shit. We lost the plot, hoping that we discover it. If there's no black box, you can't recover it. We hover above, undercover and unmarked. Jumpstart, we ain't even gotten to the fun part. State of the art, digital navigational cart. Mad smart, we don't need no organizational chart. Rip apart stars at the speed of light. Got a waffle bar if you need a bite. Bars are 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Night might end up with someone frozen in carbonite. If you play your cards right, we getting boozy, set to a carefree course. Weed so good, I don't even feel the G-forces. Space shuttle in the shape of a seahorse. Time to go back to the course, and it goes like, we going for a ride. Don't argue, get inside. This starship about to fly, so have a seat and don't forget to buckle up. Brother, better remember if you forget it, then you gotta regret it. Don't forget to buckle up. Buckle up, brother, better remember if you forget it, then you gotta regret it.
That I was unemployed for about 7 months, and I've always wanted to actually release an album. And
Heck yeah.
I started it before I lost my job, and when I did, I was like, well, I'm not going to be hurting too bad financially because I had some savings set aside. So I was like, you know what? I have this pseudo following. Let me just see what happens. So I started this thing, and shout out to Captain TC Poole of the TC Falcon. He did so he has his whole VR universe, his own world, and he actually created a Dudesy spaceship where you can visit it if you have like Oculus.
Oh right.
Yeah. So I used to like, he showed us that, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, he's a super fan as much as I am. And so he's got little Easter eggs all over this ship. There's clips from the show. There's stuff I did in there. He actually built me a my own nightclub in there too, which I haven't fully utilized yet, but I will soon. And during that time, I was like, joining in on his streams where he would do world hopping. Like, if you're familiar with what is it called? VR chat.
Right.
You can go to these different places and do all sorts of stuff. Well, I was on one of his, and this whole thing happened where we're drinking potions and like experiencing the potions. And I talked about it, and in a way where it's like, well, if you drink, one potion, or if you drink the potion in odd numbers, you feel the effects. But if you drink it in even numbers, you don't. And he's like, you must be some sort of math lord. And like, I just kind of took that idea and ran with it, right? So without Dudesy, without TC Pool, MATHLORD would have never happened, right?
And that's like such a perfect name for the project.
Right. It just it just fit. And then like, I mean, people get pretentious about, what their albums mean and all this stuff. Me and Yazik, who I actually should have shouted out earlier, the one of the only videos that I ever felt was actually going to go viral was the Tom Brady diss track we did, because almost overnight it got like 10K, and I was like, holy shit, like that's never happened to me before. It just kind of died down, but whatever. So based off of my experience with him doing that, it was like we work so well together, and he's an amazing lyricist. And I actually learned.
I had him written down in the original notes for the show, but I was afraid it'd be like, I didn't want you to think I was going to try to get through you to him in a way, because I have a story about him as well. And oddly enough, like I was going through a bad time in life, and like how you said you'd been depressed, I was I was on the floor, and for some reason, that's when I really got into YouTube videos, and all I could do was like pass the time by watching YouTube videos, and his D&D channel.
Oh yeah,
is
Man Shorts.
one of the ones I found. Man Shorts got me through some rough times. It was just like laughs and everything, and I loved the D&D aspect. I loved the filming. And then to see him just pop up randomly on Dudesy with you, I was like, wait, that's dude from Man Shorts, isn't it? I looked it all up. Yep. And I didn't know all this other stuff about him. I knew he did music in Man Shorts because they had like I think a rap version of D&D. Yeah. So I knew like that stuff existed, but that the whole world has opened up since I put a lot of that together. But so yeah, shout out to Yazik. Thanks for making that stuff and making me laugh, man.
I mean, we met because of Dudesy too, and then now we're working on a bunch of projects together. Like aside from this MATHLORD album, which is 33 tracks of of acting and singing and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, because there's skits and bits in between there.
Shout out to Chad for voicing the narrator on the album. We were about halfway done with the album, and I was messing with AI to make some voices, and then I realized like I can't use them commercially, right? So if I sold this for money, and it didn't happen, but let's say it blew up and I sold a bunch, then I'd have to owe somebody money, right?
Yeah.
And I was trying to do this on a budget. I'm not trying to spend more money than absolutely necessary. So I hit up Chad and I was like, would you be down to do some voiceover on my album? He's like, yeah, send me the script. I did that, and every time I sent him something, the next day I had, usable audio. He took my direction. It was awesome. Like the fact that
That's so sweet.
I mean, they treated me so well, dude. Like I feel really special. I feel like my experience with Dudesy is, and I'll stop talking about Dudesy after this. I feel like my experience is possibly one of the most unique because I basically injected myself into a show that I loved, right? And that, like,
I love it too.
I love that it worked out that way.
Oh, dude, and I have to mention this too. When we went to Dudesy Live or Dudesy Alive, they were playing every single one of my fucking songs at the Improv on some awesome speakers. Like that for me, I almost cried. Like it was, dude, the feeling. And then somebody outed me in the crowd, and then people were like, cheering for me, and I was like, oh, this feels great,
I think the kids these days, they say last night was a movie, dude.
Yeah.
That was your movie. Yeah.
They're playing your music.
For sure, dude.
And I mean, and you're all there for Chad and Will, but like you got a little slice.
Yeah, man. That was definitely a nice taste, but definitely a weird feeling, but a nice one.
Yeah,
Just
I
pleasant.
bet.
Yeah, from like going from like nobody knowing you to being in a full crowd to like everybody knowing you and your name, you know. Uh some people don't know about Chad Colchin as well. He's mentioned it a few times on there. I've wanted to bring him on ARTBOX because he's actually a artist. He's done street art, painting, all kinds of stuff, and
Send
Working
him an
in
email,
video
dude.
games and stuff.
I should. I think I was the first person to interact with the opportunity to have him on a podcast because he had said that on the show. And as soon as he did, I because I was watching the live, I sent it to my brother. I was like, I think whether he's serious or not, he said it. Shoot him a message.
Yeah.
And he hit him up on Twitter, and like the next day we had that podcast done. So I think that was the first one because he got right on it.
Yeah. Same with me.
And-
Like, once he said that, I was
Got
like,
him.
well, I got to start a podcast now. Chad is extremely genuine. Like, he's the same Chad you see on Dudesy is the same Chad you'll see in person. Anyways, so speaking of AI, right, and music,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned that I do that. Well, I'm getting me and Yazik kind of took this AI journey together. I told myself I'd never use it until I used it. And that's the thing, right? Like, so when I first started, I was like, okay, I'm going to do the same thing everybody else does, make some funny ass shit, right? Like, or try to make something funny.
Right.
I was like, all right. I don't necessarily dig it, but it doesn't sound great. But you know what? Let's give it another shot. And then I started learning how to use it, right? And this kind of goes back to Fruity Loops as well. There's a speech synthesizer in Fruity Loops way back in the day. It's like what they had on like Apple computers, where you type it in, you get a selection of like 5 voices, and it'll kind of read what you write, but it doesn't understand the English language per se, right? So if you want it to say, let's say live versus live, they're spelt exactly the same. How's it gonna know, right? So now you have to spell it in a different way, like Lyve, right? For live, and live is Live.
I think you and Yazik covered that in your first episode of your newest podcast, Artificial Intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, dude.
That was a very good point because like I've played with a good bit of it, and I've seen that too with the speech generators back in the day. So yeah, you have to spell with an extra E or an extra O, or you have to be creative about the way the words come out.
Yep. And not only
Very
that, what I learned from actually recording human music, right? Like I'll consider AI
Love
music.
human music.
AI music is music.
Human music.
Human music is music,
Totally.
The world itself has its own music. So that said, right? Like if a song makes you want to dance, that's a song, right? If it makes you feel a certain way, it's a song, right?
Yeah.
There's an emotional response, whether it be positive or negative, don't matter. Anyways, what I learned while I was recording the album MATHLORD is how to play with the syllable count in your lines, right? So, name any song, like and count the syllables per sentence. A lot of the times you're gonna have the same amount, and then you get to play with the rhythms there. So all of that said, when I write lyrics in Suno, for example, which is my go-to AI thing, I've used Udio.
I've been seeing Suno a lot lately. It seems like it's growing.
Well, I mean, yeah. Plus, they got the previous contest they had was with the Flostradamus. I don't know who the hell that guy is, or Flostradamus. And this time it's with Timbaland, who just kind of came out of nowhere and is now like endorsing Suno. So that's kind of a good thing for Suno, and possibly AI music as a whole. But anyways, getting to watch this AI music creation tool. And that's exactly what it is. It's a tool or a toy, depending on how you use it. As a musician myself, right? I'll consider myself a musician. If I have an idea for a song, before I'd have to play the thing on the guitar or put it into FL Studio and like kind of formulate that idea so that I can lay the lyric idea I have, or the vocal line I have.
Yeah.
Now I can do that just to see if the idea will make sense to do, right? So I'll say, okay, well, I have
Yeah.
this song that I wrote that I never did anything with. Plugged it into Suno, told it what
That's
genre
interesting.
I wanted, and based off of, like, my brain tells me when I write these lyrics down that the rhythm is going to sound like this, right? The
Yeah.
crazy thing is when you do that and you're actually conscious of, you know, your rhyme scheme, the number of syllables, the inflection, like
Yeah.
all of these things, if you make sure to tell it that's what you want, whether it be by spelling things wrong, spacing things out, you know, punctuation, like all of these things matter. But if you really care about it enough, you'll get exactly what you ask for. And I mean, it's happened to me a bunch of times, less often than, you know, crazy things, right? But
Yeah.
if I intended it to be da 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 da, I would get that a lot of the time based off of the way I wrote it. So when that
awesome.
happened, or when that started happening, that's when I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool, because now
Yeah.
I can take the idea that's in my head, throw it into Suno, right? And now I have notes. I can go back into Fruity Loops. I can go back to my
Yeah.
guitar and do this. And now I can say, okay, well, I didn't like how the AI voice did this, but now I have a basis, right? Like this is a viable song now, like, right?
It's interesting to take your old or like half baked ideas and then reflesh them from like years ago with this new tool.
Yeah, dude.
That's interesting.
Now this is bad that I don't,
Because now you can revisit and like you can do it all yourself. Like someone in your case, this actually refers to something I put on Facebook before this episode. I kind of warned people that I was having an AI like creator on, and I made sure to tell them he has plenty of catalog of music that's human music. He made it all. He's singing, he's doing it all. So I made sure that they all know it. And then I'd say it was pretty divided. In the comments, there was
it's hugely divided.
I'd say 50% of people are just like, I say, like, I just want to know if anybody had any questions for you. I didn't get any questions, but 50% of them were like, I just think it's wrong. And I had to tell them, like, I don't think you know what you're exactly talking about. You may be misinformed.
I'll do it like this.
It's so detailed.
Now, let me tell people that might be listening to this how much of a struggle I've been through with music. Okay, I was in a unknown band, booking my own shows, right? Calling the places to get the gig, first of all, and then having to struggle to get people to show up to the damn gig. You know, I've done the pay to play thing one time. Was one of my favorite shows, though. I got to play at the Viper Room, and we sounded amazing. Anyways, so I did all that. I used to do the flyer thing, you know, all that shit before like social media was crazy. We're talking like pre-MySpace era, you know, or well, maybe during. But, you know, getting word out is, if you're not friends with me or I don't see you on the street for you to throw away my flyer, there's no way you're going to know we're playing. So I've done that.
Right.
I've tried to sell demos, right? I've tried to help friends sell demos. So I get the struggle, right? Now, I make music on my own I guess you could consider me a studio musician. I do everything at home, but I mean, I am representing myself. So it's not like I'm ghostwriting for someone or whatever.
Right.
The AI part of it. If you think that AI is going to take your money, right? I dare you to try to get someone to show up to an AI show, right? I wrote all this stuff with AI. I don't even have to sing it. I'm going to hit play at the club. Are you going to pay?
We saw how some of the Glasgow Wonka stuff went when it turned out like some of the things that he used to do, it was all AI, like the AI art for
Right.
the advertisements to get people there. And it wasn't what was advertised.
But point is, right? Like, I'm not going to pay
Yeah.
money to go listen to AI. I could do that at home.
Yeah.
I can make it sound better. I don't have to deal with a crowd. I don't have to drive somewhere. That's AI music, right? Some people don't like crowds. Well, guess what? They weren't going to go to your show anyway, right? If you like an artist and you want to support them, you'll buy their merch. You'll listen to their stuff on whatever platform they prefer you to listen to it on. and share it with people, right? It's never going to replace a real musician. Let's just be frank about it.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah,
some
I told him in the comments.
will
like,
some people want to just use AI instead of hiring an artist? Sure, right? They're already doing that. Anytime a huge company can save money by not paying people, they're gonna do it. So you've always been in jeopardy by those things. Not to get political, right? Like, there's an illusion of choice in the world that, you know, you can go with A or B, and, you know, one's better than the other. They're all owned by the same fucking people. Let's, like, just, you know, look, follow the money, right? As they say, you know, in the Baja. You know?
The audience kind of knows I'm a little into conspiracy theories, maybe due to one of our recent episodes. So yeah, not everybody checks out like every item that they buy, like from Walmart. Like, you don't know who sold you that. Like, you don't know every detail that went into everything. But like, when it comes to like AI, like, you have the choice to not partake as well. Like, like I said, with your music, you have plenty of your own music, or they can enjoy the AI too stuff if they want.
Let's put it this way: as a person who can make real music or human music, I have to stop saying real, because it is real. If I listen to an AI song that sounds good, it's a good song. I don't care if you decide it's music or not. Digital photography versus, you know, having a dark room, right?
Yeah.
There is a art form in developing your film. There is an art form in capturing an image, right? These things, it's preference based. Art is subjective, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
But now with AI, right? Like, there's this whole like demonization of AI. People are thinking it's going to take their jobs and all this stuff. You know what? My job, my previous job, my whole department got let go due to us finishing the automation. Once that happened, the company's like, oh, we don't got to pay you guys anymore. See you later. And this was right before Christmas. And if you are if you are my previous employer and you're hearing this, fuck you. Yeah, but you know,
you're good.
They're not gonna hear this. And if they do, you know what? If you're one of my old coworkers, you're cool. I like you, but everybody else can, you know, go suck an egg. But
yeah, man.
But I mean, AI is just it's a tool. It's a tool. Is it
Well,
going
like, how would you describe your life since having AI? Would you say it's an improvement? Like, just not that you like have automated your life, but like, you've played around, you've joined communities, you know, based on some of those things. Has it improved?
I'm a nerd. I like Star Trek. Star Trek is better than Star Wars, and I know that starts wars. But if I can have the computer talk to me, and like, you know, I don't have to touch a keyboard, I just, you know, cool. That said, I don't use like Echo Dot or Alexa, whatever. I don't use none of that, right? I don't like things listening to me all the time, even though I have a phone that does that anyways. And if you don't believe me, just pay attention to what you talk about with people, and then you'll see those things come up in your feeds. And if you still don't believe it, then you drank the Kool-Aid, and that's okay. You know, be happy. You do you. You know, Matrix, have that steak, be Cypher. It's all good. Like, you know, I wish I could go back and be ignorant to the things that I think are my reality, right? But I'm not going to tell somebody.
Exactly. I feel that way.
I'm not going to tell somebody to believe what I believe just because I think it's true. No, you are you. You do you. Boo boo. You know, like, I'm not here to preach about something. All I'm saying is I see the argument from a musician's standpoint, right? It's a tool. People like Steve Aoki, right? Press play. Do you think he's performing music, throwing cakes at people? No, right? Plus, I mean, he comes from Benihana money, so, you know, whatever he says, I don't know. It's kind of pretentious, in my opinion, but, you know, people all say, hey, you kind of look like Steve Aoki. I've had that a bunch of times, especially if I'm wearing my shades, and it's annoying because I'm like, I do more than press play, dude.
Well, that's kind of what I was telling some people in the comments as well, is that even in each use case it's subjective. So like the way somebody went about it, the how they did it. You made a point about covering a song that you guys had made through AI. Now, once you've covered it and released that song, doesn't that give you license and like monetizability if you've fully fleshed it out?
Per the terms and agreements in Suno, I could release a song that I wrote in Suno. Just like take that audio, and as long as I am a subscriber, that contract is valid.
But for the folks who have such a problem with it, what if you went ahead and covered the song just as awesome? Like, is it acceptable to you now? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's so weird the way where people draw the line.
This is where things like Suno become a tool, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what to do with these lyrics that you wrote, and they mean a lot to you, right? I think it was Yazik or maybe it was Cody. One of them took a song that their grandma wrote, like when they were in their, I don't know, 20s or 30s, and never got to record it. And then, put it into Suno, put the lyrics in there, gave it a genre, whatever the appropriate genre was. Grandma cried. Like that was an emotional moment for her. Cool. And you're telling me that AI is not real music? You're telling me that that's cheating? You just brought like a really old lady a tear to her eye to hear something that she never got the chance to record when she could sing.
Right.
How is that a bad thing? Right? Now,
that's mind blower.
The argument there is like, well, eventually you're not going to be able to tell the difference what's real and what's not. Before AI was a thing, that has always existed. Propaganda has always been propaganda. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. What you choose to believe is up to you. And if you don't like it, don't partake. If you don't like AI, don't partake. If you don't like a certain genre of music, don't listen to it. You don't like a TV show, you don't like a comedian, don't listen to him, right? You have that choice, and if you don't think that you do, something's wrong. And I hope that you find out what that is so that you can be happy again. Because I want to be happy, right? Like,
yeah. And I think it's just a lot of people getting used to change. Like we've seen it in the generation, before us, where it was computers and like social media coming up. Now it's stuff like AI, and we're seeing some of our own friends like butting up against it, like, oh, this is ruining our lives. And it's like,
here's one thing too, right?
Kind of feels odd.
You kind of reminded me. Some people would say that AI is cheating. Okay.
Right.
Is a calculator cheating? Right? Is it? It's a tool to get the answer you need.
Right.
Okay. Now there are people out there. There are people out there that are bad eggs, let's say, that are trying to steal people's voices. And you like Joe Gadet, I think is his name. Somebody like one of the companies that he did voiceovers for used his voice into like one of those AI voice generators where you can train the voice. So stuff like that. That's kind of, come on, dude. Like that is ripping off someone's work, right?
Yeah.
But me as a musician, if I cover a song or if I'm influenced by a band or, is that not the same thing? Am I not pulling from what I like or what I can reference to make something else, right? I'm not like, if I cover, I don't know, a Thrice song, right? Am I gonna, do you think that covers is one thing, right? But if I'm influenced by them and I have a song that sounds like theirs, do you think they're gonna get mad at me? No. You listen to bands, you like genres, you gravitate to what sounds good in your head, right? For music, we're talking music here. AI video ain't there yet, right? But once it is, do you think that if I'm entertained, I give a shit whether it's AI made or not?
Right. Yeah, I have no idea how I'll feel once it gets there. I think I know how I'll feel. I'll be like, wow, that's cool. I just haven't been blown away yet. Like I'm like, oh wow, I've seen the novelty, but like something within me like already knows. It's the uncanny valley thing.
Yeah.
Like where I'm like, I'm not like afraid of it. I'm just like not as impressed. I'm like, I've been on the internet a long time. I've seen weirder than that.
Yeah.
So, but like when it does get there, it's going to be very impressive.
There's a video from Aphex Twin. I think it's called Rubber Johnny. And
Oh, right.
some of the AI imagery, like when it's like mashed up faces and stuff, reminds me of that. And that's like before AI. That's all practical. So
Yeah. Visualizers and, just some of the weird indie kind of stuff people do with like creature makeup and all this
oh,
kind
dude,
This and
I
that.
love that.
gummo stories that are like, yeah, it's just crazy
If
shit.
I can ever get like Hollywood quality makeup done, like prosthetics and everything, just for fun, I would do it.
That'd be dope.
There's actually
The
someone
next
I
album.
follow on Instagram who does that. And I was like, I'd love to have something like that. And they're like, well, if you're ever in town, let me know. I was like, okay, cool.
Do a music video for the upcoming album, dude.
I would record all sorts of shit. But one last thing I'll say on AI, right?
Mhm.
There's this whole, Skynet kind of mentality. Oh, it's gonna kill us.
Right.
You know who made AI? Who invented it? Humans, right? What does a computer do? What you tell it to do, right? So, do you need to be afraid of AI, or do you need to be afraid of the people that control it, right? And on top of that, it's not gonna do what you think it's gonna do until you tell it what to do. Also,
Yeah.
let's say that's out of people's control. Well, be nice to each other, be nice to AI. Because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if you're not a jerk, you won't be perceived as a jerk. And I don't want to be perceived as a jerk by our AI overlords when they take over.
Yeah. Make sure you cater to the basilisk.
Right.
Look it up.
But then again, some
Don't.
people think technology itself is the devil. So, you
Right.
win some, you lose some. I'm just trying to navigate,
Yeah.
follow the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I like your take on it, man. And obviously we vibe on some of the points you've made. And it's a very leveled discussion. Like there's so many uh different verticals to go into to talk about it, whether it's music, acting, and then there's the subjective usage. So it's like, yeah, be good people is like the best way to go about it, I think.
I mean, bad
Be
people are
honest.
going to do bad people stuff. Good people are going to do good people stuff,
Yeah.
It just takes you stepping over that line to the bad guy side,
Yeah.
like
And you're 100% open about using it when it's used.
Too,
oh
like
yeah,
this song is AI.
I don't want my music to be confused with AI music.
Yeah.
If I'm making real music, you'll know, right? If I'm making
Yeah.
AI music, you'll know. And I don't
Yeah.
want to I will always be transparent about that. Because
For the people in the comments who are asking, like, here's your proof,
Proof, man.
man.
He's laid it out for us.
be genuine. I'm talking into the camera now. Be genuine, no matter what. Don't I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, I made that song and like it's obviously AI. I didn't produce it. I might have wrote the lyrics. I might have prompted the thing, so it wouldn't exist without me. Now,
Yeah.
am I cheating? I'm still putting in work. I'm writing the lyrics. I'm not letting AI write my lyrics for me. And that's kind of
Yeah.
one of the misconceptions here is that
You're catering an experience basically, because like if I'm feeling something from it and you've made it, like that's real,
right.
like that's not, and whether it's cheating or not, it's like that experience is isolated within the AI experiment that you played with,
And I will say this
Yeah, like-
too. You have like famous artists from the past, like let's say Jackson Pollock, right? Random, like, let the paint go where it goes. That don't
Yeah.
translate to AI music. I'm sorry. If you just do
Yeah.
some garbledy shit, it's not gonna sound good. However, I have dabbled in doing that purposefully, and that sounds good. But you gotta be purposeful and you gotta be genuine.
Yeah.
I'm not the one vocalizing this stuff, right? But I'm manipulating the AI to do exactly what I want. I'm putting in the work. So
Yep.
at that point, the way, even so, we can talk about the podcast next, because with the podcast, we
Yeah.
are very, very clear about what we are doing, right? If we cut a video, it'll say, written by, edited by Songaria Yazik, right? Under that, musical facsimile and vocals by Suno, or whatever we use, right? Image.
Since you're on the topic, go ahead and let the folks know at home about the show, because I did mention Bard Official Intelligence.
As passionate as I am about the things that I involve myself in, Bartificial Intelligence is the brainchild of myself and Yazik post Dudesy. So this is like Dudesy after Dudesy after Dudesy. But we're not trying to, ride on the coattails. What we're trying to do is focus on one aspect of the AI, though we'd bring in the art side of it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a very different show, but I love that it has a AI host, which Crom Peterson is the third member of artificial intelligence.
He participates, and actually, if you are on the fence about AI music, right? I believe that if you watch our show, it will give you some insight on how to use it
and how to feel about it too, because like you guys talk it all out.
Oh yeah, 100%. So the way this show works is we have a theme every week that the audience that's there comes up with, or the first episode, obviously me and Yaz did it because we didn't have an audience for the first episode. Anyways, we'll take that theme, run with it for the week. So I'll make a song, Yaz will make a song, Crom, our AI announcer, he also partakes. And that said, I don't write those. I ask Crom, he's like our own chatbot that I created, and I'll tell him, hey, give me a song about this. Whatever he has, I might tell him to revise it, but I don't change anything. So that is not written by me, even though I am prompting it. So, and I'm very clear about that too. When I post his videos, it's edited by, or, yeah. So anyways, so we do that, we present those, and then we work on music live with the audience. So whether we stick to the theme or whatever it is, we'll do it live. You'll see how it's done. And when you understand how to use it, you will no longer fear it, because you'll see where the limitations are. You'll see where where the fun part of it is. I wrote some pretty interesting stuff this week. But nice. And this is not even for the show, but anyways, the show is on my YouTube channel starring myself, Yazik, and Crom Peterson, who, if you join our Discord, which we also have one of those, you'll get to talk to Crom, and he's a lot of fun in the Discord. Anyways,
that's awesome.
As far as when the show airs, we do it live every Sunday, 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. We're on episode 9 now. We've had a pretty consistent double-digit following. So hopefully that grows in the future. But you know what? If we have a small core fans, and that's where we stay, I'm fine with that too. Because, if you enjoy it, that's who I want to be there. If you just hate it, don't watch it. Please don't watch it. Don't even bother. Mm-hmm. Don't waste your time, because I don't want you to just get mad for no reason. Like do something more productive,
Well, I think it was productive you coming on this show, man. I had an awesome time talking to you and picking your brain about how you feel about regular creativity, human creativity, and artificial creativity, and where they meet. So, I mean,
I have a good time talking to people that are, just cool. Like, I don't care if we believe the same thing. Like, I'll have a conversation with anybody who's willing to give me the time of day, and I will give that respect right back, because I'm not here to fight. I might be passionate about stuff and I talk all this, right? But if I had someone else, interjecting, I would listen. I'm not just going to say, shut up, I'm talking. No, I am all about sharing information. That's what we just need in general. Be genuine, share information. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Unless they deserve it, right?
Yeah. Unless they deserve it, for sure. And on that note, let the audience know where they can find you.
Oh, yeah. So at Songaria is my typical for everything. So if you find me on Instagram, all my links are there. If you find me on at Songaria on YouTube, so it's the youtube.com/@Songaria. That's where you'll find all of my videos related stuff. I'm on Spotify as well. It's pretty easy to find me. You can just Google Songaria. Now I pop up, which is mind blowing to me. I have merch. It's on my Etsy shop. You can find the links to that if you care about it. I'm wearing like a MATHLORD t-shirt right now. I got the album, which you can find on Bandcamp. If you buy the physical, you get the digital also. So I highly suggest, if you're going to buy the digital, get the physical anyways, because this is like a legit 90s experience when it comes to, there's like 24 pages. You got all the lyrics. We got artwork. I spent a lot of time and effort, me and Yaz together. This album means a lot to me because it's the first thing that I've officially released ever, right? Like, that's, for me, this is like this is an award to myself, right? I love it that much.
Yeah, a lot of people don't make it that far, like, completion.
Yeah, dude, I've made a bunch of demos in the past with, just scribbling on the verbatim CD, and no one's gonna buy that. But now you have something. There's like art, right? This is a package of art, whether it be physical or audio or whatever. Eventually, I'll have video for this as well. But working on that.
Well, you heard him, folks. Go support his art. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hope to have you back again on a later date, man.
Dude, you tell me anytime you want me on, and I will be on if I have anything relevant to say, or if we have, just let me know. Maybe you could be a guest on Bartificial Intelligence. Speaking of which, that is on my YouTube channel. Just click on the podcast thing, and then you'll find it there. And enjoy my other shit too. I mean, it's a good time. It's not all stupid, except don't watch all of my workout videos for the 8-month plan, because that's just me working out in time lapse. You don't need to see that.
All righty, folks. Well, you have a good night and stay creative.
Thank you for being a pal. Duty, Lily, a willing child. Moving on, we're all pals.